For paint and coating specifically, there's a lot of things that you're doing internally, likely, that you might need your system to comply with. Maybe it does these things, maybe they're workarounds, maybe you're working in what's called a discrete manufacturing system, which was not designed to do many of these things. Examples: approval steps. Do you have a paper-based or manual approval today, where folks are maybe walking throughout a factory or a laboratory to get something approved? Or is it digital, right inside of your system? Are you managing complex conversions and unit of measures, again, manually, or maybe in an older legacy system? You're very likely doing some sort of reworking and repackaging. Batch comes out not the way we expected, it happens. Do we need to correct those defects, fix the quality level, and repackage? And same with reformulating. In order to remain competitive and keep your advantage, you need to constantly be innovating and reformulating. And this is also something that's not easy to do if perhaps you don't have a modern system that allows you to track revisions, history, unit of measure conversions, etc. Very much along the same lines. Formulation management, approvals, byproducts, and consumables we see popping up very often in these industries. Often not easy to manage if you have byproducts coming out of your batches. Some systems simply aren't designed to do this, which can create a lot of external or additional work for your employees. Chemical manufacturers are very often dealing with loss percentages and line level losses, one more time, because they're dealing with something that we're not dealing with discrete products, right? We're not putting one and one together to make two in many cases. When we're dealing in chemicals, there might be impurity removals that take place, and now we have to account for those losses. Excuse me. Packaging your products. Not only do we have to make the chemicals, make the paints, make the coatings, then we have to package them. Can we have a separate bill of materials for that? Is it easy to do? And maybe you have some outside or subcontracting that's taking place. Do you have an easy way to send something out for, say, sterilization or whatever it might be before you bring it back in? These are all things that the system I'm going to talk about today was designed to do and does natively. Here are some examples of what your process steps may look like. This example here, we're talking about a premix operation where we're mixing resin and solvent and pigments and zinc oxide. And this is all just in the operation one. So we have to account for the different ingredients, formula going into that premix before we move it along to dispersing, before we move it along to thinning, before we move it along to tinting and blending. One more time, maybe you are using a system that allows you to do this today. Some of the older Sage systems that are out there, for example. Yes, they do this. Again, I take you back to my first point. In the last 10 years, technology has erupted, and many process systems have not followed suit. Here's one more example. Paint organizations, paint manufacturers. You may have to do a process that looks something like this. So one more time, yes, we're coming up with the formula, we're mixing the paint, but then we also have to package it. So do we have the ability to create a bill of materials that accounts for all of those ingredients or the recipe, as well as all of the discrete components that go into the packaging?